Yeah, I'm ready, but again, I'll let you mention it if you get to it, but after each panel speaker goes, we'll give a chance for everybody to ask questions, so if you can, just hold off your questions until each panel speaker speaks, and we'll give you the floor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining on behalf of the mayor, deputy mayor. We appreciate your participation, and thank you all the panel speakers for showing up and focus to give your best to the local businesses in our community and allow them to learn what you guys do and how you can assist them during this COVID pandemic. And so on behalf of the city of Syracuse staff and mayor and deputy mayor, we thank you for participating. What this is all about is really just trying to do what we're doing and more because of the pandemic and the opportunity. Well, and we're not able to meet like we used to. We can't do the events that we normally do, right? So this is the new tool to engage with businesses. Just one of the new tools that's available to us. We decided to go with the WebEx to reach out to you guys and give you guys resources and information that can help you grow your business or start your business. Because I know it's a bunch of businesses that I've been talking to recently that seem to be lost and trying to figure out how to get New York State certified, for example, how to obtain a business plan, how to get general assistance, and just figuring out a name for their business. I have those type of questions. So I think we have a large enough group of people on the call to really address all of those things. People asked about the grants that Tamika and Job and others have been part of. So I think this is a great opportunity to present, guys, what you guys do to these businesses to allow them to grow and to do business and or even start their business, as I mentioned. Bear with us. This is a new way of going about helping our businesses. So there's going to be some learning curves. So bear with us. I guess I'll start with allowing panel speakers to go around and just introduce yourselves. Devon already mentioned one important thing, but I'll just add it. When these guys get to the part where they start to open up on what their mission, the organization's mission is, and programs and services available for you, COVID-related resources and those type of things. We have a short amount of time to answer questions, have those guys answer questions, and so Devon guide us through that. But if we don't get to your questions right there, we'll try to get to them, at the end. And if we can't get to them at the end, then we'll have to do a follow-up. Many of you guys might have received an email just giving links, referencing what these guys are talking about and their contact information. If you haven't received that information, please contact me. Panel speakers, you have the order. We're starting off with ESD. If they can begin to introduce themselves, and then we'll follow through.
Hey, Lamont, this is Ryan Smith with Empire State Development. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. No, thanks for having us. I'm Ryan Smith with Empire State Development. I'm the Director of Business Development with the Division of Minority and Women's Business Development. Many of you may be familiar with the New York State MWB certification. That's the division that oversees that program. And I also have my colleague on the phone with us here today. I don't believe she has video connection. Caitlin Covert's one of my business development team members, and she actually leads our MWBE efforts here in the central New York region. So I'll pass it off to Caitlin.
Yep, I'm Caitlin Covert, Business Development Associate with Empire State Development, Division of Minority and Women's Business Development. I'm located here in Syracuse.
All right, thanks. So we have Small Business Development Center next at OCC.
Hi, I'm Melissa Zomro. I'm one of the small business advisors at OCC. We provide customized solutions through advertisement, education, and research, and advocacy for entrepreneurs, innovators, and for small and medium entrepreneur communities. There's 24 centers throughout the state. We cover 6 counties and have 7 advisors, and we have satellite offices as well to cover the outside of Onondaga in the city.
All right. Thank you, Melissa. Diversify, New York.
And I'm so sorry, Lamont was taking the mute off. Good afternoon, Rickey Brown from Diversify, New York. My company largely works with minority and women-owned business enterprises, helping through the certification process. But our second line of business is business and economic development. So we work with a number of minority and women-owned business enterprises in terms of land development opportunities, real estate development acquisition, and the like. Through the COVID crisis, one of the things that we put out was an emergency COVID business development relief guide for minority and women-owned businesses, and also one relative to starting a business within Onondaga County in the city of Syracuse. We consider it a viable resource, and you can find that available on Certified CNY, the online magazine where we do the rest of the work that we have.
Thank you, Rickey.
Thank you.
Next we have Tamika.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tamika Otis. I'm director for KeyBank's Business Boost and Build program powered by Jumpstart. Jumpstart is the organization that I directly work for, which is headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio. They are a venture development organization, and through a historic grant from KeyBank in 2017, we're able to establish the KeyBank Business Boost and Build program and expand their services to upstate New York. So what we're doing in Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo is partnering with nonprofit organizations that already provide entrepreneurial support services with a concentration on minority and women-owned businesses. So here in Syracuse, we have formed a collaboration led by CenterState CEO with Clara Cedeño and also Andy Obernesser. You'll be hearing from Clara in a little bit. Southside Innovation Center, Wise Women's Business Center, and Upstate Minority Economic Alliance. And the idea was to form a continuum of services. So whether you're coming in with an idea or you are an established business looking to grow or expand, any of our partners would be able to help you wherever you are on your entrepreneurial journey. So we're looking forward to today. Thank you, Lamont.
So you should hear this.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon.
Claire, I think you're on mute.
Oh, I was. Okay, I thought I had unmuted myself. Sorry. So I was having a whole conversation by myself. Thank you. And thank you for having me. So Clara Cedeño here, program manager for the Upstart program over at CenterState CEO located downtown. CenterState CEO as an organization has a plethora of different programs and organizations within CenterState. And really, the main mission that CenterState has is, being that independent economic development strategist and business leader organization, and a chamber of commerce. And so we serve and are focused on serving the members and ensuring their success and our region's prosperity. And so within Upstart program specifically, as Tamika Otis had mentioned previously, we form various partnerships. And so I'm very proud to be on here today with Tamika, with Mwbe from UMEA, with El Java from SSIC, and one that's missing would be Megan from the WISE organization. But we also partner up with other partnerships across the United States, Built from Within being one of those. And so in that partnership with the KeyBank Business Boost and Build, powered by Jumpstart program, we we're very blessed to have been given the opportunity to put monies out into the community, because we are here to not only help small businesses thrive, but we are also here to provide business development programs for entrepreneurs who are looking to start their program or even grow their business, or even grow their business even further. And so we have great programs that serve that purpose. And I think there's who's after me? I think Mwbe, you're up.
Thank you for having me this afternoon, Lamont. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mwbe Brooks-Rollins. I am the interim executive director of the Upstate Minority Economic Alliance, otherwise known as UMEA. UMEA was established in 2015, and our mission statement is harnessing the economic power of the minority entrepreneur for the benefit of the region. And all that really means to us is that African Americans, Latinos, and New Americans spend billions in our regional and national economies. And just as we are the consumers of products and services, so too are we the producers of products and services. Our target audience comprises hybrid entrepreneurs, or those who still hold down traditional day jobs while launching their enterprises, to those in the growth phases, all the way to mature business owners, whether or not they Did everyone copy? I hear silence, and I believe El Java's next.
I think you're on mute.
Can everyone hear me?
I hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so my name is Abdul-Qadir. I am the director of the Southside Innovation Center. SSIC is a business incubator and a business services center. We're a project of the Whitman School of Management. We have been around since 2006, and our goal is to have a positive impact on the economic development of our region through entrepreneurship. Our clients will include everyone from folks who are trying to just explore the ideation or explore the general business ideas, through to folks who are trying to grow and or pivot their businesses. And so we have specific programs through our connections and sponsorships, and the goal of those programs are basically to fund our services, right? And so our services include one-on-one business counseling, classes and workshops, and a variety of other, like we're doing right now, a variety of other events that help people to make the most of their business ideas. Through our relationship with ESD, we have the Entrepreneurial Assistance Center, and so we help people with MWBE certification. We help people with starting and growing businesses and gaining access to capital through some of the programs like the ESD's Bridge to Success program and other things like that. So Ryan obviously is the ESD expert here, but our relationships with ESD allows us to provide you with information and access to some of the products that they hold. They have a really solid business mentorship program that folks can get involved with if they're interested. We also, as Tamika has mentioned, have a solid relationship through our sponsorship with the KeyBank Business Boost and Build program powered by Upstart. And this allows us to collaborate with everyone. And I know it's been said a couple of times, but it allows us to really synthesize the resources that are in the area, so that we are not stepping on each other's toes when we're trying to help you, the business owner. So that's something that I want to say has come about in recent years, and has allowed us to really be unique in collaborating with our partners in the ecosystem. As was also mentioned, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Wise Women's Business Center, because they are our sister organization for women's school management. So finally, SSIC has incubator space for folks to rent from us, and we also have this variety of programs. This fall, we have a nice boot camp coming up for growth-oriented companies, as well as our regular business planning program. So I'm going to stop there and hopefully be able to answer some questions for you.
Thank you.
Lamont, I think you're talking, but you're on mute.
Okay, I got carried away with muting, so I'm muting myself. All right, so thank you for that, El Java. I'm likely going to have everybody come back around and elaborate on the services and the how they're assisting organizations through the pandemic. I mean, I also want to mention that I normally wouldn't invite so many speakers. I know it's a lot, but there's such a great need for so many different things. And we are going to do at least 4 of these different topics. Major projects is one. Another one is successful contractor, possibly successful supplier. It could be in both or separated. I'm still trying to work through that. And then we also want to introduce you to some procurement programs like DASNY and PTAC. And so I'm working on those things. But normally I wouldn't have did so many speakers, but there's such a great need. And I want to introduce a lot of our new businesses to what they have available to them. So I know some of you guys have already touched on your mission of your organization. If you didn't, you can clarify your next time going around. But if you can go into order and begin to talk about your programs, if you did that, then focus on the assisting MWBEs and small businesses during the COVID period. And then for each speaker, I'll allow folks to ask questions through the chat. And since I can unmute you, if you can, I believe, or you can maybe flag me, or you can chat, Devon, and we can try to get you on it, but you won't have a lot of time. Again, if we don't get your questions right after the panel speaker, we'll work towards the end to get those questions, or we'll connect you with that person after this, okay? All right, so again, we'll ask Ryan to go.
So thanks, Lamont. We were pretty brief on our intro, so I'm going to actually pass it to Caitlin. She'll talk about our mission and some of the things that we've done over the last few months.
Yes, Empire State Development, or ESD, is the economic development agency for New York State. ESD's mission is to promote a vigorous and growing state economy, encourage business investment and job creation, and support diverse, prosperous local economies across the state. Within ESD, the Division of Minority and Women's Business Development's mission is to promote quality of economic opportunities for MWBEs, eliminate barriers to their participation in state contracts, provide information and resources that increase access to opportunities for MWBEs, and promote and assist MWBEs through outreach, training, technical assistance, and support. Our work is based on Article 15A of Executive Law, which provides the authority to establish policies and guidelines related to MWBE utilization. Within the division, there are 4 key units. The certification unit, they review and vet applications for certification as New York State minority and or women-owned enterprises. There's the agency services unit, which assists 97 state agencies and authorities to ensure reporting, provide policy guidance, and review performance and utilization. There's the compliance unit, which ensures each agency and authority complies with Article 15A of the Executive Law, State Finance Law, and applicable regulations and guidelines. And there's the Business Development Unit, which Ryan and I are a part of. We promote the development of firms through education, outreach, and technical assistance programming designed to spread the word to and about MWBEs and doing business in New York State.
Awesome.
Ryan, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, that pretty much covers it. Maybe just go over some of the things we've done recently related to COVID, and then we can pass it on, I think.
Okay. In response to COVID, it's business as usual. With the division, we continue to process certification applications and work with New York State agencies and authorities and provide training and host events. We've continued to increase our virtual presence and host our capacity building Training Tuesday webinars. Since the beginning of April, we've hosted over 15 webinars. These include webinars that have focused on COVID-19 resources, including the Paycheck Protection Program, Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and the New York Forward Loan Fund, as well as how MWBEs can market themselves virtually during these times. We have also hosted our planned in-person regional expos and meet and greets. And there have been over 2,500 attendees for all of our virtual events and webinars. And we also have launched a MWBE COVID-19 resources website. It offers great information, including a list of COVID-19 business-specific resources available to support MWBEs, such as the New York Forward Loan Fund, access to capital, free technical assistance, and more. We have worked alongside with ESD's Division of Small Business and Technology Services to promote the New York Forward Loan Fund. This is a new economic recovery loan aimed at supporting New York State small businesses, including MWBEs, nonprofits, and small landlords that have been excluded from other type of relief and recovery efforts as they reopen. This loan fund targets state small businesses with 20 or fewer full-time employees, nonprofits, and small landlords that have lost rental income. You can note that small businesses do not have to be MWBE certified with New York State for this loan. Also, we have been actively participating on partners' virtual events, such as this one today, and we value our partnership with everyone here and look forward to ongoing collaboration to help MWBEs in this region and throughout the state.
Thank you, Caitlin. I know for some of you, especially new businesses, that may be a lot to take in. I did send an email. If you didn't get an email with the links for those programs she's mentioning, please contact me. If you need to further understand it, I can hook you up with Ryan and Caitlin likely next week, and they can help you explore what you're listening to. Okay. I think any questions, Devon? Anybody have questions for ESD?
Yeah, we did have one question from Lori Nugan to Ryan and Caitlin. How long is the certification process, and is New York State ESD still accepting applications for newly certifications?
Great question. That's probably one of our more common questions. The process is taking a lot longer than we'd like. It's hard to say how long it'll take because there are ways to get an expedited review of your application. So it really depends. We've taken several initiatives to increase or to speed up the process. And actually one is we recently sent out an RFP for an expanded certification assistance program to hire or provide funds for an external organization to assist us in alleviating the backlog of applications. At one point, our certification unit was receiving over 300 new applications a month. So, it didn't take long for a backlog to build up. We are still accepting all new applications as well as renewals for our certification. So if you have any questions about the certification, feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've processed over 3,100 applications since April 2019. And with this certification assistance program, we're aiming to have at least 1,900 applications reviewed in a one-year time span.
Awesome. Great information.
Can any of you explain what some of the requirements are or questions that would be asked on the application? Thank you.
Sure. I don't know, Lamont. I don't know how long we want to spend on this. I know we do have a lot of speakers. I'd be happy to address these questions.
We got a little window, a little more time. We can take that question.
Okay. So the basics are you have to be a for-profit firm, at least 51% owned by a minority and or woman. I'm trying to think, you have to have fewer than 300 employees, a part-time or full-time employees. And the key to our certification is really not just the ownership, but we're looking for operational and control. You have to be independently operated and controlled by the minority or woman owners. Really what that means, in a nutshell, it just means you really have to demonstrate that you're making those day-to-day business decisions and you're not just a figurehead of the organization, or you're not just doing administrative tasks within the organization. We're really looking for someone that's actually managing and controlling those day-to-day operations. And as I said, I'd be happy to work with you individually if you have any additional questions, but I would say that's sort of the, in a nutshell, the basic requirements.
Devon, do we have time for one more? Thank you for that, Ryan.
No, we'll probably put that off to the end.
Okay.
Next speaker, yeah.
All right. So next we have Small Business Development Center.
So hi again, I'm Melissa Zomro Davis. I'm one of the advisors. I went over our mission statement for all of New York State. We offer free and confidential counseling, advisement, research, business planning, cash flow analysis, cash flow projections to our clients in the community. We cover 6 counties. We're paid by the federal and the state government. So like I said, we're free and confidential to the client. We help with locating funding sources. We help with research when you're looking for data and statistics on the industry that you're in. We help with finding vendors or finding distributors or finding that, hard to find thing. We also work really closely with Ryan and Caitlin with ESD on the MWBE process. We work with Lamont. I send a lot of clients your way when we have a client that is a potential for city certification. We do a lot of collaboration. We work with Wise a ton. We do a lot of programs with them, and I know we're talking about putting something together for QuickBooks, a program for how to utilize QuickBooks in this time frame, and that's going to be a collaboration with Score and Wise. That'll obviously be virtual. Basically, our advisors are here to be at your disposal. We are mitigating your risks. We prep for that loan. If you're a startup and you're looking for funding, we're going to help you develop that business plan and the cash flow projections in order to present to the lender thoroughly and researched and in a great position so that hopefully you get the loan. If you're an existing business, we do all sorts of things. I just worked with a person the other day reanalyzing her numbers because obviously with COVID, things have changed. So trying to figure out that break-even point and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, that's my dog barking right now, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have to calm down. I was distracted earlier because I was trying to get them away from me, and they're not used to being home still. Even with all of COVID, they're still not used to me being home.
Yeah.
And with the pandemic, with the COVID, what we did was we helped with finding people working in with PPP and EIDL and what is going on and what is not happening, and everything is changing day to day. So everything that was being changed and coming through our office, we were putting out there to all of our clients. We have a ton. I'm so sorry.
No,
we have a ton on our website of different links of where to go to and to find sources for assistance. And again, with COVID and PPP and EIDL, it's changing daily. So as fast as it's coming to us, we're sending it out to our clients to hopefully get it to them as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Melissa. And I just want to say this before Devon lets me know if we have any questions. New businesses, please go see her, because she can really get you ready. About time you go see her, she gets you ready, then I can help you more do business with the city. Oftentimes, folks come to me and they're not there for me to assist them, or I can certify you, but it's tough for me to assist you to get a contract, right? Because you haven't gotten certain paperwork in order, business plan, a way to get funding, all those type of things. So I suggest if you're a new business in the area, please go see Small Business Development Center with Melissa. Devon, we got any questions from Melissa?
We didn't get any questions for her, but I did want to just add to your comment. So many times we get businesses coming in asking questions, trying to find funding, and everything they need is at the SBDC. Countless times, I can't even count how many times I recommended somebody to go up there.
Okay.
So if you need to start anywhere, that's where you go. Then you find it.
Awesome.
And just add to that really quick, Lamont. Don't be discouraged if you're a brand new business or you're even just thinking about it. Sometimes when you come in, and I feel like sometimes people get discouraged right off the bat and they're like, oh, I'm not ready, or I don't know. It takes a long time. I'll meet with a person who just has an idea and then meet with them 15 more times. And that's okay. That's what we're here for. So don't feel like you have to get all the answers from us in one sitting. We're here as much as you need or as little as you need. And sometimes that means years and years and years.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Melissa.
Guys.
Great information. So next we have Rickey.
Here, Lamont.
Hey.
Great. I want to take the opportunity, if I can, to talk about some of the more immediate needs, especially in light of COVID. I realize that there's exponential programming that is available. My concern in working with a number of those businesses is the viability of those businesses to be able to stay alive through the COVID pandemic. And many of the programming and things that we've developed, unfortunately, have come after the fact. Unfortunately, a lot of the afterthought of the Paycheck Protection Program, for example, those businesses had to survive through round one in order to even qualify to be able to apply through round two, and that's if they survived. So I just do want to make sure that we focus on some of the urgency of assisting the minority and women-owned business enterprises, which really are the backbone of the regional economy here. And they're in really perilous slopes. And so while we don't have many of those businesses that are available to speak, I, for one, am one of those businesses. I've been around for 2015. I had some success in being able to navigate the Paycheck Protection Program successfully myself. Being able to relay that experience to other minority-owned businesses who don't always feel like they have the platform and aren't always able to identify the resources necessary to successfully navigate those programs. One of the areas that we've worked specifically with is helping to identify lenders, which made that process less cumbersome for minority and women-owned business enterprises. So we developed a great relationship with both ACMG, who personally processed my Paycheck Protection loan, and also Cooperative Federal, and some of the other institutions that we've partnered with in terms of training are now the Jubilee Homes off of South Ave. I'm pretty disappointed, as a matter of fact, they didn't have a presence on this call, because I know that they've worked tirelessly through the pandemic as well, especially in relation to the economic development portion of this conversation. Many of those businesses that we worked with are beyond the growth phase, have now entered into a phase where they are taking on capital projects in excess of $1 to $4 million. They have some pretty significant ties to the community, are all state certified entities, including Dr. Chanel Benson-Reed and Todd Benson-Reed, who are opening up that first minority and women-owned business enterprise dental lab in the country. And so I really think it's important that we focus again on the immediate need for resources for these businesses. Again, many of these programs are great just in terms of a theory of application, I will say, but as a minority-owned business and with the experience of going through this process personally, that is a difficult channel to ask those businesses to pick up through this training at this stage of business, when again, they're trying to keep the lights on at this stage. We're 4 or 5 months into COVID. And so I'm hoping there's some immediate survival resources that are going to be available through the call. One last thing that I will point out is that we developed an emergency relief online manual for these businesses, which essentially cultivated all of those resources, including the Paychex Protection Program, instructions for how to gain through there. That's continually being updated as foundations like the Central New York Community Foundation releases the Black Excellence Fund, ties to every one of those resources that I felt like were immediately available, including some of the city staff. And Daria Jones did a wonderful job of helping businesses navigate through COVID with the resources that were available technologically. That's also where I think we need a point of emphasis for these businesses. There is a huge technological gap that exists for these minority and women-owned businesses. And if we could plug that hole, I think it would make things far more efficient for them to be able to survive, especially in this climate with COVID.
Awesome. And Rickey, you're hitting on a lot of great notes. And that's the reason why we put this together, so we can have these type of conversations. Hearing some of those things makes me suggest that, us on the panels probably need to get together sometime and speak and figure out how we can find more solutions to some of the things you mentioned.
Absolutely. I think there's ample opportunity there to do that. One of the things that I would parlay and give to the audience there is that having such an intimate relationship with many of those MWBEs, and I have one of the largest networks of minority and women-owned certified businesses in Central New York. And so our territory is a 5-county territory now. And those conversations are intimate. And so a lot of the questions in and around the banking process, for example, stories that they're not necessarily wanting to share publicly, but things that they've experienced where they were hurt financially with going through that process, and then are afraid to kind of reapproach it, don't know whether or not they have the confidence to be able to get through that process. And I think where we could all be helpful on the technical side, and I want to be clear here, because some of the things that I think it's too easy for us to do, and I hear it often, there's a refrain that we simply fall into when we say that these businesses aren't prepared. They don't have X, Y, and Z. And by and large, the experience with the firms that I've worked with, it's simply not true. I really want to put that out here. A number of the firms that I work with are definitely exceptional businesses. They're exceptionally prepared to do business. There is a reason we have such a high demonstration of not just Chanel. Nadante is also purchasing $1 million building right now. A number of those other MWBs are going through that capacity process, but it's because they have acute business sense and they really are great business people. And so if we can do anything to break the barrier that says that we're not prepared to go through here, we may need some hand holding because we're first generation businesses and haven't ever had the experience of navigating the process, but I assure you they're prepared to go through the process.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Rickey. And to me, this sounds like a larger conversation. You're hitting on some great things. But for the sake of time, Devon, do we got any questions for Rickey based on some of the things he said?
No questions, no.
Okay, Rickey, we should, because I don't want to make it seem like I just, heard you and it went in one ear out the other.
No, absolutely.
We need to definitely need to come together and talk about some of this things, because that everybody on the call, on the panel, this is what we do. And so we would love to figure out how we can work together to address some of the things that you're seeing and also talk about some of the things we're seeing in our roles. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Tamika.
Sure. Yep, I'm here. Hi, everyone. As it relates to COVID specifically, what Jumpstart and KeyBank Boost and Build did was, due to some COVID restrictions, we had to suspend some of our workforce development programs in Ohio. And as such, Key and Jumpstart decided to repurpose that funding to establish stabilization funds in both Ohio and New York. And so the Boost and Build program was able to infuse $500,000 of debt-free capital to small businesses in Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. And in Syracuse specifically, we deployed $150,000 of funding to 31 local businesses, with 63% of them being minority owned and 73% being women-led enterprises. But the need is great, and we all know that. We had more than 200 applications funding, with enough funding for approximately 31 businesses. So however, really led by CenterState, we're offering resiliency training to all applicants through our partners who can speak in more detail about what they're doing to respond to COVID. So that's what makes our fund very unique from other funds, is resources of our partners to also provide resiliency training. We're not just cutting checks. To speak on a little bit what Rickey was talking about, we have seen that some businesses were not prepared, their financials were not in order, and that was a hindrance for many businesses to obtain federal stimulus funding. So what we did was we customized this fund to kind of provide a safety net for the businesses that were excluded from federal funding. We knew that many, many small businesses, particularly minority-owned businesses, were going to be excluded or not positioned for a variety of reasons to receive that funding, or even receiving that funding would be a detriment to their business and not a benefit. And so we wanted to provide not just the funding, but also the training, the support, the encouragement, and leveraging the resources of our partners to help maximize the success of our clients. And so that's what we are doing together, and our partners, and Clara is going to speak right after me, can speak again in more detail specific programs that we are establishing to respond to COVID. But I want to encourage all of these small business owners on the phone today. Very often we think that if we go to one service provider, we can't go to another. And I really want to encourage you all to, leverage the benefits of numerous partners and service providers. That was one thing that we really focused on with the Boost and Build program. We want our clients to benefit from CenterState CEO, and from Southside Innovation Center, and from WISE, and from UMEA, if they are all appropriate for their business. Because we believe in building a fence around the entrepreneurs and small business owners, knowing we need our support and resources and promotion, and we are here to do that. So I want to encourage all of you to follow up with everyone who's on this panel today and identify which service provider will best meet your needs.
Yes.
I put down the Boost and Build website. If you go to that website and click on Syracuse, you can fill out an inquiry form, and we'll get in contact with you within 72 hours. We'll identify which of our partners can best meet your needs according to the information you put in that form. So just know that the resources are absolutely there. The service leaders are ready, willing, and able to serve and support you. So please make sure that you're following up and engaging with us so that we can be here for you.
Thank you, Tamika. That was good.
Thank you.
Okay. Clara?
Yes, thank you, Tamika, and those before me, including Rickey Brown, for all the sage words that have been bestowed upon us today. But, I'd like to say from an Upstart perspective, we have several pillars within our program. The first being training, which is where we provide some of those building blocks to help those entrepreneurs to develop an idea and put it down on paper to create that business plan. And then from there, we do have technical assistance services, or as Tamika referred to them as resiliency training, all of which are also available to small businesses that are still that are operating and in existence. It's not just about those who are in the idea stage, it's about helping those others who want to, again, as I mentioned, grow and take their business to that next level. After that, the other two pillars are lending, where we help you create a connection with the local community bank to get you some of that traditional funding to get that business going, or to get that business to the next level. And then after that, real estate, so just helping identify where you can find that space if you're brick and mortar. I'd like to speak on one thing, because I think you'll hear through this call, a lot of the services will seem like they are all the same, right? And so it may also come across as if some of these organizations are competing against one another, but really it's a community of partners who are there to work together and provide services to such a large community of individuals and businesses who are truly looking to thrive and and stay alive in this climate. And so when you look at, for example, if you've all heard of Salt City Market, all of the startup vendors that are going into that market went through the Upstart program, but they also connected with individuals over at SBDC. So as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to get a community to prosper, and it takes a village to help all of these businesses to be able to gain access to resources that they need. And so we all work together in bringing this forth into the community. One of the other partnerships outside of the CUES Collaborative, as mentioned before, Upstart is also engaged on a national level with program and partnership built from within. And so as we go through COVID, we are also now talking and determining what webinars and what can we bring forth to keep the conversations going to help businesses pivot during this time to continue growing their business and getting the revenue that they need to survive. And so as we went through the process of putting out the KeyBank Business Boost and Build powered by Jumpstart funding into the community, I always love saying that because it's so long, but it took a lot of work on our part to dig deeper than just on that level of who needed the assistance and the paperwork that was submitted. And we had to look at those businesses who weren't able to get funding because of the lack of the paperwork and things that actually also created, as Tamika said, problems for them to getting access to PPP. And so we've gone a step further to provide the resiliency training, not only to those who were able to get grant funding, but those who weren't. And so we've reached out to all of these businesses to determine how can we help? Where do you see yourself, in terms of whether it's assistance with marketing, assistance with getting the finances together, assistance with applying for PPP. So it's definitely something that you'll see a recurring theme across all of the partners on this call, all of the community organizations. And I think it's important to understand that, that one organization may not be the best fit for you, but know that there's a community of partners that are going to help make that connection for you. So if you come to Upstart and we're not it, then it could be UMEA, it could be SBDC, it could be SSIC, it could be a variety of other partners that are on this call and that are out there that are not represented today. So using Tamika's words, guys, don't think that you can't ask for these resources because they are there. And we are definitely here to serve you and to serve our community, and we all look to work together to that end. So,
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clara. And that's the reason why we put this together, because we know we have these resources available. A lot of businesses just don't know every organization. They may know some, but I wanted to give them the opportunity to know that they got options. If one organization is busy or, you have some issue or whatever happens with that organization, you can always go to another location to get some of the same. And not saying those things are happening, but I'm just talking from a human perspective. We have next. Oh, I want to say this. Clara is leaving at 5:30. She has a hard stop, right, Clara? So if you have any questions for her, this is the time. Anything, Devon?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll move forward. Thank you, Clara.
Thank you.
Next we have Mwbe. Thank you.
Well, since last year, UMEA has hosted a series of meetings and strategic networking events. And one of the things that we also did was strengthen the value proposition of what it means to be a member of UMEA. First quarter of this year, UMEA received community development block grant funding from the city of Syracuse. And so we partnered with the Syracuse Builders Exchange to do a Ssic. risk management, the legalities, access to capital, et cetera, et cetera. And even though that program was primarily aimed at minority contractors, we opened it up to the larger audience so that non-contractors would be able to participate as well. If I move the needle a little bit along to March, we had identified at least 25 or so Hispanics or Latino business owners who also wanted to attend that SBE cohort. And so we had identified translators to translate the entire series in Spanish in order to make that information accessible to them. And then we were also poised to host our first strategic networking event of the year, because we have found that one of our unique value propositions is the ability to bring diverse stakeholders together under one roof so that our members and our target audience are able to conduct business. But unfortunately, because it was March, obviously the pandemic postponed those plans. So in April, UMEA, not unlike many other organizations, pivoted, and one of the first webinars we hosted was providing technical assistance to the Paycheck Protection Program as well as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, because we were deeply concerned at the low rate of participation in those programs. We've also found, by the way, that the local numbers reflect, national participation as well. So SBA and others appeared and helped us to close that technical assistance gap so that minority participation would be increased. And so we found that this was actually an opportunity moment to provide even more value to our audience by providing a series of complimentary webinars. So we are smack dab in the middle of offering such webinars to the public. Last June, we hosted a webinar on or highlighting our business partners. You've already heard it alluded to on this call, but because minority business owners were grasping for straws essentially and wondering where exactly are the resources, we had a sense of, we've been here all along, perhaps we didn't, put out the megaphone and say it louder. So we thought, this is an opportunity moment to highlight places like the Southside Innovation Center, Wise Women's Business Center, the Upstart program at CenterState CEO. We also included the Small Business Development Center as well as SCORE on that call. And by all means, this isn't an all inclusive list. We also collaborate with other business partners, but that was the nucleus that we wanted to make our audience aware of. And I will have a call to action at the conclusion of my remarks here. But so in 2 weeks, you can write this down, but I'll put it in the Zoom chat. The next one in queue is Wednesday, July 29th, hosting a Zoom webinar, again, complimentary, on gaining access to capital for minority businesses. Now, I need to be clear here. We are very intentional that this is not to be a dog and pony show. As a matter of fact, the financial institutions that will appear are being vetted for their track record, their history in this regard before we bring them before you. And at the front end of that discussion, we will discuss what the real challenges are in gaining access to capital. So again, I'll let you know where to find that information. And then the following webinars are also in queue. Becoming MBWE certified. Sometimes we launch or lean into becoming certified, but what about the feasibility portion? Going through the process of determining whether or not certification is for that specific business. being prepared for the numerous documents that must be submitted. That's the technical assistance piece. And then leaning into the process itself, and then coming out the other side once one has been certified. What do the procurement opportunities look like? And not only for contractors, but those myriad of minority entrepreneurs in the services industry as well. And I just have a couple of more to tell you about, and I'll actually tell you where to find them. Next in queue will be the strategic networking event. So the event that was to occur in March, we are pivoting, and it will in fact occur over Zoom, complete with the breakout rooms. And then finally, we've had a number of businesses of color reach out to us, eager to share their stories on how they have pivoted during the pandemic. And I see one such owner on your call, Mark Jones of Ssic Apparel, who has done a phenomenal job of doing just that. And so we will host such a webinar in order to provide encouragement to the larger audience. With all of that being said, I'll say this verbally, and then I'll go into the chat and type it for you for easy accessibility. But the best, quickest, fastest way to keep track of UMEA's events and programming is joining. We have over 700 Facebook followers. So we'd appreciate if you would join those ranks and go to Facebook and just look for Upstate Minority Economic Alliance. That's Upstate Minority Economic Alliance. And the upcoming Access to Capital webinar is in fact posted there. So that's one way. And then the second way is I encourage you to go visit our website, upstatemea.com. That's upstatemea.com. And specifically, click on the member button, and on the member button is a drop-down menu. It's survey. So you've heard the word collaboration mentioned numerous times here. If you fill out that member survey, two things will happen. I will connect you to one of our business resource partners who are already rock stars in that genre. So that's number one. And number two, we're going to send you a complimentary resource guide, Compliments of SCORE. The first being how to grow your business, and you'll also receive a bonus, how to launch your business enterprise. And I will put that information in the chat bar as well.
Thank you, Michelle. We appreciate that. Devon, we have any questions? And shout out to Mark Jones. We do see you. You got any questions, Devon?
Yeah, we had a couple questions. So question number one, are the UMEA webinars available for viewing afterwards?
Yes, they are. Just send us a special request, and we'll be happy to share that information.
Okay, thank you. And question number two, this was a general question for all the speakers. How can any of the organizations help leverage opportunities in the private sector, such as Amazon or Syracuse University?
Well, I'll allow you guys to answer that one if you can, but we'll save those ones after El Java speaks. If any more pop up like that, Navarro.
Okay.
Is it my turn? Could you guys hear me now?
Yeah. Let's just save that one, Devon. Yeah. Let El Java give his part, and then we'll save that last question when he's done.
All right.
All right.
So as was mentioned, I'm Abdul-Qadir, and I'm the director of the Southside Innovation Center. I want to say that I don't want to repeat everything that you've already heard. We will definitely ditto the things that our partners on the camera have already said. Right? But something that's unique is that SSIC this is our second actual recession type event that we're experiencing since we've been open, right? So SSIC opened in 2006, and we have experienced the recession that 2008, 2010, right? And so we help businesses grow through through that and start during that time period. In fact, my business started. I own a martial arts studio, and that started in 2008, right in the thick of the economic crisis. And so I guess what I want to add here, and this is I guess going to be a teaching moment as opposed to, hey, this is what our resources are. What I want to add is that as a business, there are external factors that impact your business. There are societal factors such as the legal environment, the unanticipated national or international things that impact you. Like there's a range of things, and what we try and do with folks is help them to do what you can to anticipate them. You can't prevent these things from happening, and this is whether you're operating a business during the pandemic or when we didn't have the pandemic. We have to truly be intentional about identifying some of the external business factors. We can all teach you how to do your pro formas. We can teach you how to plan, how to do your business plan. We can give you technical assistance, but what I think folks are missing sometimes is the ability to anticipate change, to anticipate some of the challenges, and then how you're going to respond to those challenges. And so our business coaches, that's what we do. Again, with maybe many of the folks who are many of the businesses who are on the call, who I see here as our clients. We have these types of conversations. We work with successful businesses to help them to anticipate the curve and to coach them through what the changes of the environment might look like, and help them to instead of surviving COVID, see what pivots need to be made in order for you to thrive during and after COVID, right? And I think that's a different change in the way that you think, right? We've got to change the way that we're thinking, as opposed to survival. Let's think about how we're going to thrive. And really, the things fluctuate all the time. Like the price of your producing your product changes all the time. Your competitive the things that your competitors do that make you try and keep up with the Joneses, right? That happens all the time. And so we pride ourselves on being able to coach our companies through being able to anticipate things, and you can't control it, you can't stop it from happening, but you can try and see the best way to strategize a way over it, a way around it, a way through it, right? So that you're thriving as opposed to just surviving. And again, I'd rather hear from you all and answer your questions than for me to reiterate that, yes, we help you with business planning, yes, we help you with QuickBooks, and yes, we help you, right? We do.
Right. Appreciate that, El Java. That's some good information you just shared.
No problem.
Any questions directly for El Java based on what he said, Devon?
Nope, not in the chat, no.
Okay, so looks like we can move on to the last part of this, is what really just opening it up to questions for our panel speakers. Now, keep in mind, Clara is likely off, even though I seen her, but she did say she had to get off. So, exception to her, I think everybody else is on. So I guess we'll start, Devon, with that question that you had for all the panel speakers.
And I'll just read it again.
Okay.
And the question was, how can any of the organizations help leverage opportunities in the private sector, such as Amazon or Syracuse University?
That's a good one.
Lamont.
Wow.
Lamont?
Yep, I'm there.
Rickey, if I can. Some of the opportunities that we've been able to take advantage of, especially given the social climate of late, we've had a number of organizations that have reached out and were interested in partnering and forming relationships that would help solidify those businesses through the COVID crisis. One of the partners, for example, was VIP. This is another private organization. As you know, they've had some success in partnering with Nadante, who's one of the more successful minority tradesmen that we've had there. And they've expressed similar interest in having partnerships and or mentorship opportunities to kind of cover these businesses through that process. But we've also discussed some opportunities beyond the sponsorships that they've provided. So a number of those private organizations have supported in the background, in fact, directly contributed to my business in order to help us facilitate getting out information as quickly as possible to many MWBEs during the crisis. So I think the opportunities are there. We're awash with a number of companies, again, that are interested in partnering, and they are looking and seeking for further partnerships, but really would like some guidance on how to do that. They're looking for a safe space in order to reach out and be able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
And there looks like there was a question for me on here. It's okay for me to answer that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So the question.
What was the question? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the question was, how long can companies stay in the incubator, and does the SSIC offer virtual coaching or training on a one-on-one basis? And so SSIC, the format is that as an incubator and a services center, the incubator, you can be there in one of the regular spaces for 4 years. So the goal is up to 4 years. We have plenty of folks in our anchor rooms that are the bigger office type rooms that can be there for longer. But the incubation period is that folks are going to graduate within 4 years. And for the most part, I want to say around 80% of folks are graduating within that time. The other piece about us offering coaching or one-on-one training, yeah, like since COVID, we took everything immediately offline, right? And so we brought our regular one-on-one business coaching. We have every Thursday we have a business essential series class that consists of folks who are already in business, trying to just bounce ideas off of one another. So yes, we are continuously offering one-on-one training, and our regular Thursday class, business essential series class, is also happening. And yeah, folks can rent space at SSIC. We don't have any spaces available at this minute because we have 29 spaces for folks, and we're fully occupied even during the pandemic. Obviously, folks can't we're not business as usual because of the restrictions that we have in our government. And so, thank you. Looks like some more questions up there too.
What time are those Thursday brainstorming sessions, El Java?
2 o'clock, Carrie.
Thank you.
All right. Devon, what do we have?
We have one more question so far. What is the cost to get an MWBE certified, and how long does the process take?
I think El Java and Rickey, I think you guys do that, right?
So we don't, SSIC doesn't charge anybody for your MWBE assistance. Like I said, we've constantly been helping folks since the pandemic has happened as well, through Zoom primarily. And so we help them to figure out whether or not it's right for them. We help them to gather the correct paperwork. We help them to upload it in a way that ESD would like to see it, and give them a little bit of a feedback on whether or not they meet the general criteria. Obviously, the decision is up to the folks over at ESD to decide. But we don't charge for the services. Where our funders compensate us for the assistance that we provide to them.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll add to that real quick. The application itself, the New York State MWB application itself, there is no cost. There's not an application fee or anything like that. So the actual application process is free. However, depending on your situation, you might need additional counseling, whether you're getting an attorney or an advisor, so it really depends on your situation. But the application itself is free.
Thank you, guys.
It's all
Rickey?
online as well. I'll put a link to the state MWBE certification in the chat box, so you all have that.
Thank you, Caitlin. Rickey, you had something?
Likewise for us, Lamont, we are funded to provide that program and provide a monthly workshop online, and that has switched since COVID. Obviously, we did that in person, but that work continues for us. Although AEI has been placed on pause, there are some other funding sources that we've utilized to be able to continue that programming. So there isn't a cost, especially for Onondaga County residents for us, where we are primarily funded. The secondary funding that we will receive will allow us to provide that training outside to the other 4 immediate counties around us.
Right. So let's see if we can connect sometime after this, because I don't think I know everybody's not my directory is not state certified. So I know that for a fact. So let's look at some ways where we can work together and look at what companies are not state certified and see how we can assist them in some type of procedure or manner.
The other end of that, Lamont, is even if they aren't state certified, I think one of the big missing pieces is we work on the procurement side as well. So most of those relationships, when we ask about the company formation, I've worked directly with Syracuse University, for example, in the NVRC project they have, the $60 million construction project, to make sure that they had MWBEs that were plugged in to that kind of contracting environment. So it's important we focus on some of the procurement end as well, and some of that does not require a state or a city certification in order for them to participate.
Okay, awesome. I don't see any more questions on the chat. Did any panel speakers have any questions for other panel speakers? Without, we'll play fair and nice, but if it's something that's going to help these businesses, viewers or listeners, please ask something that you think that may have some value. If not, we can get ready to close.
Hey, Lamont, I'd actually like to go back, because this is Ryan. I'd like to go back to that question about the private sector. A lot of our efforts obviously are based on state contracting. However, a lot of, just like we're doing today, it's really important that folks expand their networks because there are private sector diversity programs, things that are supporting minority businesses and women-owned businesses. One of our partners is actually the New York and New Jersey Minority Supplier Development Council. They work with Fortune 500 companies on their diversity practices. So they're, I would say just expand your network, get engaged with all these organizations on the call today, because, your business is not going to be 100% in government contracts, and maybe it won't be 100% in the private sector. So, by being in this loop and in this great community, engaged with these resources, I think it should open up some opportunities in both the private as well as the public sector.
Right. And then in some examples, we've seen some of these private projects actually reach out to MWBEs for participation. I know the market that's opening downtown, they just reached out to me. I think, I want to say Eileen sent me something, but I just received, for Reggie Siegler just sent me something about they have contract opportunities, and that's a private job. So you will see, and even Syracuse University is working towards getting some MWBE. Java may be able to talk about that a little bit.
Let me jump in really quickly. Just generally about the concept of the balance between your public and your private footprint. Okay, I'll speak about SU in a second. Just the idea, Eli, is that if you are looking at trying to balance your private and your public footprint, then it's time to start to consult with someone to help figure out what the profits might look like if you went this way versus that way. It's not just, hey, go to NMSDC and sign up for that, and now you're going to know about Amazon. It's also like, yes, we know about Amazon, we know about NMSDC that Brian mentioned, and we know about the relationship with the folks over in design and construction up at SU. We know about the connections to those resources or to those opportunities, but the way that we can be most helpful is if you're in front of us and we're talking about your business, coaching you to find out, this is your strategy to go about figuring out whether or not it's time to transition from 50-50 to 70-30 with respect to your public versus private. it's time now for you to experience MWBE type of services through the state. Even though the margins might be smaller, you have to build a track record with that before going on to other federal type of things, for example, right? And so I guess what I'm saying is that type of question is like asking, okay, how do I go about getting an LLC? Well, yeah, we can tell you how to get an LLC, but whether or not you're an LLC right now is a deeper question, right? And so it's I want to say either ask those questions to meet with one of us as a business coach, and I guess I'll stop with that. So design and construction up at SSU is a good way to go if you want to find out about opportunities there. Vincent Patriarcho, he's probably going to be mad that I gave you his name, is a guy who I would reach out to specifically, who I know we've had conversations with about
yes,
offering minority and women-owned businesses an opportunity to do business with with Syracuse University. So yeah, certainly there are obviously there are things that are on hold because of our situation here, because of our reality. But but that's if you want to speak with someone who can point you in the right direction.
Right. Yeah. I think we've been seeing more inclusion being put into some of the private projects, or at least discussed. So I think we'll see a trend uptick if we keep having these conversations and keep holding, those entities accountable. I think we'll continue to see that. All right. Anybody got anything else? I think we got 14 minutes to be on. But if nobody has anything, we can move forward. But if anybody has anything, it's a good time to share it. Okay. Well, all right. Thank you for everybody participating. Appreciate all the panel speakers. Everybody helped put this together. Syracuse staff. Thank you all. All right. I'm going to exit the meeting now.
Thank you so much, everybody.
No, thank you. Thank you, Lamont.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys. Good talking. Seeing everybody.